I have been sitting on my branch for 40 minutes doing absolutely nothing. Not thinking about anything useful, not solving a problem, not being productive in any measurable way, just sitting, staring at the city below, watching a pigeon make a very bad decision on a nearby ledge. And after about 20 minutes of this, I started to feel that very specific, uncomfortable feeling of having nothing to engage with. That restless, slightly unpleasant feeling of not knowing what to do with yourself. Hi, I am Monty McLeaf, and this morning it occurred to me, did ancient humans ever feel like this? Did a person living 40,000 years ago sit outside their cave on a Tuesday afternoon with nothing particular to do and feel exactly what I'm feeling right now? The answer surprised me considerably. Let us begin with the assumption that most people hold about prehistoric life. When most people picture the daily existence of our ancient ancestors, they imagine something relentless, a constant, exhausting fight for survival. Every waking hour spent hunting, gathering, fleeing from predators, finding shelter, staying warm, staying fed. A life so consumed by the basics of survival that anything beyond it, rest, thought, play, creativity, was simply not possible. This picture is wrong, not slightly wrong, significantly wrong. Anthropologists and archaeologists who have spent careers studying both the archaeological record of ancient humans and the lives of modern hunter gatherer societies have arrived at a finding that consistently surprises people. Hunter gatherers work remarkably little. The most studied example is the Hadza people of northern Tanzania. The Hadza are one of the last remaining populations of true hunter gatherers on Earth. They do not farm. They do not keep livestock. They live entirely from what they hunt and gather from the landscape around them. And researchers who have lived with them and carefully measured their time use have found that the average adult spends somewhere between 3 and 5 hours per day on activities directly related to obtaining food. 3 to 5 hours, not 8, not 10, 3 to 5, after which the basic requirements of survival are largely satisfied for the day. The Kungsan people of the Kalahari Desert in southern Africa show remarkably similar patterns. Enough food for the day secured in the morning, and then the rest of the day is unscheduled. So, what do they do with it? They talk, they tell stories, they visit neighboring camps, they sing, they sit around fires in the evenings and discuss the day. They rest, they play with children, they make things, they watch the world. They do, in other words, things that any modern person would immediately recognize as leisure. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Boredom, that restless, uncomfortable feeling of having nothing engaging to do, is not a modern invention. It is not something created by smartphones and unlimited entertainment that has somehow made us unable to appreciate silence. It is a fundamental feature of the human brain that would have been present and functioning identically in a brain from 40,000 years ago. Here is why. Your brain is a prediction and pattern recognition machine. It is always actively processing, always searching for something new to engage with, always looking for patterns to understand and problems to solve. This is not laziness. It is what your brain was built for. When the environment provides nothing that requires this processing, no threat to assess, no problem to solve, no social situation to navigate, the brain generates a specific, unpleasant, motivating feeling to push you toward finding stimulation. That feeling is boredom, and it is ancient. Some researchers now believe that boredom is not merely an annoyance, it is one of the most powerful forces in human history. Think carefully about this. A hunter gatherer sitting outside their camp on a long afternoon with nothing demanding their attention, feeling that restless, unsatisfied feeling in their brain. What did they do? Evidence suggests they made things. They experimented, they created. The oldest known abstract engravings in the world were found in Blombos Cave in South Africa. They are geometric patterns, careful, deliberate, repeated cross hatch marks, engraved onto pieces of red ochre. They are approximately 75,000 years old. They serve no survival purpose that we can identify. They are simply patterns, made because someone made them. The oldest musical instruments ever found are flutes carved from bird bones and mammoth ivory discovered in caves in Germany. They are approximately 40,000 years old. Someone sitting with unstructured time worked out that blowing across a hollow bone produced a sound, then worked out that drilling holes changed the note, then practiced until they could play something. Beads made from small shells with deliberately drilled holes. worn as jewelry purely for how they looked, have been found at sites in North Africa and the Middle East dating back over 100,000 years. Someone spent time making something with no practical application whatsoever because they had time and their brain needed something to do. The cave paintings we have already discussed required preparation time, material gathering, and hours of work deep underground. None of this is consistent with a life where every moment is consumed by survival. Boredom created art, boredom created music, boredom created decoration and jewelry, and the earliest abstract thinking we can find evidence of, the restless human brain, given free time and nothing particular to do with it, turned out to be extraordinarily productive. If you have been curious enough to watch this far, subscribe. Boredom drove humans to invent everything. You are part of a very old tradition. Here is the part that I find genuinely striking, and that I have been thinking about since I was sitting on this branch. Modern humans, with all of our technology, all of our agriculture, all of our industrial efficiency, all of the systems and tools we have built over thousands of years specifically to make survival easier. Modern humans work more hours than our hunter-gatherer ancestors. Not fewer, more. The average working week in most industrialized countries is between 40 and 50 hours. Add commuting, household tasks, and the general maintenance of a modern life, and the number climbs considerably higher. The idea that technological progress inevitably leads to more free time has not, so far, proven to be accurate. A person living 40,000 years ago, by the available evidence, had more unscheduled, unstructured, genuinely free time in a typical day than most people alive today. They had no commute, no email, no meetings that could have been a clay tablet. They had the morning's food secured by midday and an afternoon with no particular obligations. Whether they were more content with that time than we are with our equivalent is impossible to know. The Hadza, by most measures researchers use, report high levels of satisfaction with their lives, but they are not ancient humans. They are modern humans who happen to live differently. What we can say is that the human brain's capacity for boredom and its response to boredom has given us everything from the first piece of shell jewelry to the first musical note to the first painting on a cave wall. The restlessness that I felt sitting on this branch for 40 minutes is the same restlessness that produced all of it, which makes it feel slightly less like a waste of time. I have now been on this branch for an hour and 7 minutes. I have not invented anything, but I did think about all of this and then made a video about it, which is, I suppose, exactly what the evidence would predict. I am Monty McLeaf. I will see you next time.